I'm live today. Sorry, there was a little bit of a technical glitch today. Had to sort out my hair, so I just needed to make sure that it was in place because it's just feeling a little bit curly today. Anywho, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about the time issue, and I'm going to just talk for a little bit because there are some people who definitely wanted to get on today and haven't been able to get here in time. And just a little side note that these stories are simply for uplifting everybody, to bring some joy, to bring some love, to just bring everybody together and enable us to connect even though we can't connect in a physical sense. So hashtag free hugs. I'm sending lots and lots and lots of free hugs out to all of you because at the moment I can only get my hugs from my kids, which is awesome. But I'm missing my hugs because I am a hugger and I'm feeling really unhugged at the moment, and it's something that I really need to be able to keep going and to be able to share my light with everybody. So today we have a new book which was chosen by Nathaniel, my son, and it is Boogie Bear by David Walliams. Now, David Walliams is an amazing comedian. Some of you mums and dads or aunts and uncles and all you big gigantic people will know him as a comedian from Little Britain. He also has written kids books, so I just wanted to bring this one to you today, and just to ensure my copyright stuff that it's fair use. So I'll put that in here. That applies to all videos that I do, that it is not about making money for myself. It is about uplifting others. It is about sharing the love. It is about this time where we all don't know sort of who we are, what we're doing and where we're going. And it's about just giving a little bit to everybody else and giving you some mental space from the stuff that's going on everywhere. Hey everybody, nice to see you. Like my hair? I am a little bit of a Mad Hatter, as you all know, and it was so awesome yesterday to see some of my students from the past, and I mean the very past, because Elizabeth was about 2 when I had them in my class, and she's now turning 21 at the end of this year, just to freak all my students out. They are now sitting here with their kids and watching this, and I feel so blessed and so honoured that they actually feel that I can still offer something, because teaching in the way that I taught them is not something I can do anymore in classes, and it's something I wish could still happen. I was very much a fly by the seat of my pants kind of teacher. I did all the prep, but if I could have fun and do something differently, we did. So yeah, if we could do that these days, and I know there are teachers out there doing that, and I love you for it, and keep being who you be. And same for you kids. You know what? Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't be who you want to be. You have the potential to be anything you wish to be. And I can see that in the students that I taught, who are now mums and dads themselves, who are out changing the world and just changing it just because they are kindness in a human body. So just know that that's really all you have to do to make this world a better place. And that it takes all sorts of people. Don't ever let anyone tell you that people who work in supermarkets aren't as good as people who go to university and become doctors or nurses or business people, because it takes everybody to create this world. We need all different people doing all different things, and at the end of the day, it all comes back to us being kind to each other, us giving each other another chance, us choosing to be kindness, to be compassionate, to be loving, and just to be that light for other people. And it's just so beautiful to see that in times like this we actually get to see those kinds of things. You can see our property behind us. We are lucky enough to live on 5 acres in Tamborine, Queensland. And one day this week, if I have the opportunity, I will go out the back and see if there's any kangaroos out the back. We've got a huge mob of kangaroos that come through, and they are just so awesome. Anywho, let's get on with the book. Boogie Bear by David Walliams. So that this is a teaching moment, yay, we're going to go through what each part of the book is. So if you can get your kids to interact, if you are with them, talk about what this is. We have one as well. It's a solid piece that holds us all together. It's the spine. So like we have a spine that holds all of us together, we've got a spine on a book. And this is where it's all joined. It's a solid piece. And when we put books away in the library, we put them away like that so that we can actually see the spine. So we've got what the name of the book is, and we've got the author and the illustrator, Tony Ross, who, by the way, is an artistic genius. So this is the part that sticks out so that we're actually able to see it more easily. We've got the front of the book. Can anyone tell me what it's called? And I know you probably can't answer, but you could ping up little comments and maybe I can see where they are, what you think it is. It's the front cover, for want of anything else. So on this you have your author's name, David Walliams. You have the title, Boogie Bear, and you over here you have got your publisher, your, what are they called again? Illustrator, your picture drawing, your creator of all things artistic, Tony Ross. So this book belongs to Nathaniel, my youngest son. David Walliams presents, courtesy of the Mad Splatter, Boogie Bear. Up at the North Pole, polar bears were swimming, fishing and growling. The biggest, furriest one of all was sunning herself on an iceberg, as usual. Lying there without a care in the world, she scooped fish from the sea with her paw and dropped them into her mouth. It almost sounds like a guy out doing fishing on a boat, doesn't it? Except that they're raw. This is the life, she sighed, as she drifted off to sleep. That is the life. Although I don't think I want to eat raw fish. Well, not like that anyway. Zzz. I don't think I zizz when I sleep. I think I do a little bit more like actually that's probably my husband. I'm really quiet. Whose dads and mums snore? I bet there's heaps of them. Who, like me, could hear their dad from another room in the house when he's snoring? And so can my kids. When the polar bear finally woke up, the most awful thing had happened. The animal must have eaten too much for lunch again, because the part of the iceberg she was lying on had snapped off and floated away. That or she just had too much and over the sleep time she just expanded. And I'm pretty sure we all know what that's like. That's Christmas lunch and Easter. Except it's a couch, not an iceberg. The polar bear was now miles from home and being hurled around by the angry sea. Oh dear, she said as she wobbled, surfing a humongous wave. Surely things couldn't get any worse. They could. Much worse. What do you think she should do? Is freaking out going to be any use to her? Or is there something that she could do in this moment? Maybe she could ride the wave, like we've all got to do at the moment. Just ride the wave. Come up for air if you start to sink. Do something for yourself. As the polar bear was swept south, the sea became warmer and warmer, melting the iceberg, which became smaller and smaller. That's a free geography lesson in there. Soon it was no bigger than an ice cube. And who actually thinks that a polar bear could balance on something the size of an ice cube? Topple, oh dear, said the polar bear as she toppled over into the sea. Splosh! Bobbing her head up out of the water, the polar bear spied that the nearest land was miles away. Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear! Rhymes with bear. And here, and there, and there. She did her best bear paddle towards it, and before all you Aussies give me grief about how I say bear and beer, before collapsing on the rocks, waves crashing around her. Behind her, she heard a rustling in the forest. Rustle, rustle, rustle. The only thing more rustly would be someone called Russell. Russell rustling. I love David Williams. It's just my kind of person, you know. Looking up, the polar bear saw hundreds of eyes staring back at her out of the gloom. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh very dear, she whispered to herself. Surely things couldn't get any worse. They could. Much worse. She looks very much like she's contemplating all those eyes right now, doesn't she? To be honest, I think I'd be freaking out, turning it round, running back to the sand. Charge! Came a voice. Before the polar bear knew it, 100 brown, furry creatures were stampeding towards her. Ah! They cried like soldiers running into battle. Actually, that probably sounded more like they were being stabbed in battle. Get the boogie monster! Bellowed the littlest one from the back. What's a boogie monster? That is! Shouted the big one with the floppy ears. I'm scared, said the little one with the biggest, wettest nose. The brown bears had never seen a white bear before. We're not even going to get into the politics of that one. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh very, very dear, said the polar bear. And she ran away into the forest as fast as she could. It wasn't actually that fast, but at least she tried. Brown bears came from all sides, and soon the white bear had nowhere to run. Ahead of her was the tallest tree in the forest, so she clambered. Do you know what clambered means? It's sort of like climbed all the way up to the top. It is impossible to clamber all the way up to the bottom, though. Thanks, David. You're a legend. The tree swayed under her weight. The white bear clung on desperately as the brown bears circled. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, very, very, extremely dear, she said to herself. Get the boogie monster, shouted the small one, baring his sharp teeth. Can someone else do it? It's scary, whined the one with the biggest, wettest nose. I am not scary, shouted the polar bear. Yes, you are, said the little one. Your fur is a funny colour. Well, I think your fur is a funny colour. That enraged him. Who knows what enraged means? It sort of means angry and really growly. Sometimes I get like that when my children leave all their stuff around the house. And then I look a lot like those growly bears, losing my top. I'm a bad mother. In a really good kind of way. Get up there, he ordered. I'm scared of heights, replied the one with the biggest, wettest nose. And just in case you thought I was living in perfection where my children put everything away and do everything I ask, you'd be wrong. The smallest one huffed and picked up a stick as big as he was. He hurled it at the polar bear. Take that, boogie monster! Whoosh! Biff! Ouch! Called out the polar bear. She lost her grip and slid down the tree at speed. Oh dear! 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 She muttered to herself as her big furry bottom, yes, I am trying to work out how to make it straight for you, hit each branch on the way down until she hit a big bendy branch which bounced her right back up to the top of the tree. Surely things couldn't get any worse. They could. Much worse. Who else knows someone with a big, hairy, furry bottom? I've got two who are lying next to me at the moment. One's a Rottweiler and one's a Cocker Spaniel. And if you don't know what those are, they're dogs. Just in case. As the polar bear was so heavy, the tree buckled to one side. The pack of brown bears reached up with their paws and grabbed at the trunk. Get the boogie monster, ordered the little one. That little one's got some issues. The brown bears lost their grip on the trunk and the tree twanged back up. Twang! A twang is like a twang, but more twangy. Oh dear! Screamed the polar bear as she soared through the air. It's a flying boogie monster, remarked the one with the biggest, wettest nose. Now, polar bears are not natural flyers. None have wings or own jetpacks or can pilot helicopters. That we know of. In no time, the poor animal had crash landed head first into a huge muddy puddle. Splat! If you think you have seen a polar bear flying a helicopter, please consult a doctor. Unless that doctor's a polar bear, probably. Let's get the boogie monster! Shouted the littlest one. There he goes again. Sometimes it always seems to be the littlest one that has the loudest mouth, isn't it? But you know what that helps them do later? Speak up for other people. So it's a good thing. We just have to choose the times. Oh dear, said the polar bear as she stood up. Caked in mud, the polar bear wasn't white anymore. Stop! It's not a boogie monster! It's a bear! There's a bear in here, exclaimed the one with the biggest, wettest nose. If you give me a minute, we'll go to a window. It's probably going to be the back window. A boogie bear, shouted the littlest one. A huge smile spread across the face of the one with the floppy ears. Ew. She's not a boogie anything. She's gorgeous, just like all of you. Boring, fumed the littlest one. Miss, we are so sorry for frightening you, said the one with the floppy ears, stepping forward. In truth, we were frightened. Here, you see, all us bears are brown. There are all us bears are white, she said, pointing north. Well, I didn't read that properly, did I? I need to use my punctuation and grammar. There, all us bears are white, she said, pointing north. That makes more sense, doesn't it? See, it does matter where you put punctuation and how you use it. I love your white fur, said the brown bear, checking out the white bear's big furry bottom. Little bit weird, but still funny. I love your brown fur, said the white bear, checking out the brown bear's big furry bottom. Yuckity yuck, 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 exclaimed the littlest one. The pair rubbed noses in a show of love. The birds in the trees tweeted sweet music. Oh. Butterflies swooped and twirled. And as if that wasn't enough, a rainbow appeared in the sky. From that day on, the two love-struck bears spent all their days and nights together. The white bear had never eaten honey before, which she loved. What's something you love to eat and you'd be happy to share with somebody? The brown bear had never eaten walrus before. Who would eat walrus? Not me. Which he pretended to love. I don't think I could even pretend to love it. That'd be like eating custard. What's something you don't like to eat? What's something that your mum and dad or your caregivers make you eat, but you still hate it? I can tell you what Nathaniel's is. It's peas and corn and any veggies. But I still make him eat them. I would not recommend eating walrus. You have to smother it with tomato ketchup to make it taste nice. The pair hibernated for the winter, cuddled up together in a hollowed out tree. Things couldn't get any better. But they could. Much better. So even after she's gone through all those scary moments, things turned out okay. And she got to meet new friends and new kind, I'd say people, but bears. And that's sort of the same for all of us. That spring, the polar bear had a litter of beautiful bear cubs. Their fur came in lots of different shades of white and brown. No matter, their mummy and daddy loved them all the same. I feel the same about humanity. Doesn't matter what colour you painted on the outside. Doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter how much money or what you have. We're all the same on the inside. This really is the life, sighed the white bear. It certainly is, my love, replied the brown bear. Oh, lets everybody go, oh, that's so lovely. Remember David Williams, Boogie Bear. I got this at my local store. I'm only plugging because it's such a good book. Nathaniel loves it. And just to be clear, I'm not getting royalties. I'm not getting paid. I am simply doing this to bring some more beauty to the world. Well, beauty. And so a little bit of laughter. If it makes you laugh, that's even better. And have a moment. So on that note, if you would like to check out now, you can. But if you would like to stay for a little bit of a mindfulness practice that you can either do yourself or do with your children, it is such a good practice. Somebody in my life coaching group taught it to me when she was coaching me. And I've actually found it really, really useful through different times, especially things like I find it really stressful to go to the doctors. So my heart will start to race when I'm sitting in the waiting room panicking about what I'm dying from. And it's called the glitter experiment or the glitter activity. So you can do this with your kids at home as well. You get a jar. And the ones with the screw top lids are really, really good. Probably about this big. You can make them littler. But basically, you sort of need the stuff there. I don't have it, so I haven't made it. But you could Google things that float in water and that you can tip. So you basically get the idea. You need a jar. It could be plastic, glass, whatever you have that's around. Use this time with your family to do these kinds of things and experiment with different things. You need to fill that jar with water, and then you put your glitter in and put the lid on. You can hot glue that up so that it doesn't come undone again, but it depends on whether you want to use the jar again, so that's totally up to you. And what you do, if you've got kids, I found this really useful in classes with kids who are starting to lose that ability to stay calm when they start to become agitated. So it just depends. So what they have to do is shake it up as much as they can. Oh, it's probably my brain. Shake it up and then put it, and you sit and you watch the glitter settle. And in the time that it takes the glitter to settle, your emotions and your agitation starts to come down. Doesn't work for everybody, but it's certainly worth a crack. That's not what I do at the doctor's. I do a mental version of it. So if you would like to do a bit of that, you're simply doing some breathing. And if just post in if you would like me to go through it in depth and actually do a mindfulness meditation. I'm happy to do that, and I can take everybody through it. But what I'll do is I'll just give you a quick idea of it now. So you're taking that time just to close your eyes and go into a calm space, and it just has to be where you can actually come inside of yourself. You're doing the same as the actual physical. So you're taking the jar and you're placing the jar on a table. So this is all in your head. So you're creating this vision. Place the jar on a table. Take a jug and fill that with water. So you're taking that time to be mindful of filling the jug with the water. And you may just feel this because not everybody gets a visual in their head. So you can do it in like a feeling kind of, yes, I feel full. And then I'm going to pour that into the next jar. So it's just becoming mindful and staying with that. And sometimes your brain will start to go back out into the world outside of yourself because there's people around you, or whatever it is that distracts you. So just keep coming back to that moment. It's okay to be distracted. Pour that big jug into your jar. Have the jar, get the little packet of glitter, and sprinkle your glitter into that big jar. Then you take your jar and you screw your lid back on. And then in your mind, you are shaking that up. And if you're at home and you want to do it in a physical way, this is really cool because you can actually get rid of some of that energy. And you can shake and shake and shake and shake and shake. And then place it on the table. And then just sit back and in your mind, watch the glitter drop to the bottom. And it's a really good space because kids love it. And because I'm a giant kid, a really old, really giant kid, I find it works really well for me. And I've got to the point where now I don't care who's looking at me in a doctor's office or when I'm starting to freak out, because it's more about me being able to come back into my calm than what other people think of me. And that's a huge thing to get over for some people, but just work on it. Do it at home. Do it with your kids. Sit in a circle, do the glitter jar, and sit together and watch it and see how calm you can become. Find other things. Please share ideas in here, because this is about being a community. This is about us uplifting each other through this time. This is about sharing our ideas. Put them in here. And for the kids, it would be awesome. I had a suggestion from I think my sister actually, about kids drawing the pictures. So if the kids wanted to draw pictures from the story of the day, you could take photos and ping it into the comments so other people can see them. And then us as adults and kids or whoever, we can just all share the love and like and have that moment of upliftment. That's what this is about. So on that note, have a freaking awesome day. Know that you're not alone. Know that we are all in this together, and that I am #free hugging out to you. Take care, everybody.